stronger than ginger ale.
Yeah, hopefully that's part of it, right? All right, first thing. We got to graph this inequality. 3x minus 5y less than or equal to 15. Probably back in the day, you get y by itself, graph the y-intercept, right? Remember that stuff, doing slope, go up and over, graph a couple more points. That's too much for me, too much, and it gets confusing. Before I start, anybody know, if I wanted you to graph a line on that graph, how many minimum, how many points would you need to graph a line? Minimum, how many points would you need to graph a line? Jake?
2.
2. And that's all I want. I'm going to show you how to get 2 points, and we're going to graph it. I'm not going to do the slope y-intercept business. I can't do it. The 2 points I'm always going to ask you to graph for these inequalities, one of them is called the x-intercept. So here we go. One of them is called the x-intercept. That is the point where it crosses the x-axis, right? The x-intercept, that's where it crosses the x-axis. And I'm going to make this very easy to find. How do you find the x-intercept? You plug in 0 for the y. Okay, to find the x-intercept of a line, you plug in 0 for y. So let's go back to what I've given you here. 3x minus, and what happens here when I plug in 0?
Nothing.
It just goes away, right? 5 times 0 goes away. There's nothing there. And then instead of the inequality, can you just change it to an equal sign? Because we're going to be solving for x. And look how quick this goes now. Ready? X is 5. And there's your x-intercept. You got 1 point. So your x-intercept you find by plugging 0 in for the y. And now we're going to find the y-intercept, the second point to graph. And I'm sure some of you already know how that can be found just based on what I did with the x. Y-intercept, now I plug in 0 for x. And that disappears, right? 3x basically disappears because I'm multiplying it by 0. So it's negative 5y equals 15. And now your y-intercept, negative 3. So those are the only 2 points you need. And you got your line. So grab your straight edge now. Give me a good x and y axes on the graph I provided. And once you have your graph, can you graph those 2 points for me? 5 on the x, ready? X axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 on the x. Negative 3 on the y. That's all you need. I don't need 2 to 10 more points. I'm done. All right, before I grab my straight edge now to graph it in, I don't know if you guys, I know it's been a while since your freshman year. When you graph an inequality, there's 2 types of lines that could happen. Anybody remember the 2 types of lines? It could be solid, like usual, or it could be dash. Yeah, remember those? It could be solid or dash. How do you remember to determine which one it could be? You look at the inequality symbol. Does it have an or equal to attached? If it does not, that tells you your line should be dashed if it doesn't have the or equal to. All right, so I grab my straight edge again. I line up my 2 points. And I graph a dashed, dotted, whatever you'd like to call it, line in. I didn't want that. I wanted gray. And there's one more piece to this. Shading. Remember you had inequalities, you had shading. Now, you may remember or not, that's fine. I'm going to teach it to you the way it's easiest for me to teach it to you. And where do I shade? Do I shade above or do I shade below? Here's how I do it. I take a point on the graph and I test it. The easiest point every single time to test is, what do you think I'm picking? Easiest point to test. Dylan? Yes, 0, 0. Easiest point to test, 0, 0. All right, what do I mean by test, right? What do I mean by test? Go back to the original inequality and plug in 0 for x and y and see what happens here. So 3 times 0 minus 5 times 0 less than 15. And you're going to tell me if it's true or not. What do I get on the left side here? 0. Is 0 less than 15? True or false?
True.
True. So that means that's a solution, which means my shading should go towards 0, 0. All right, so if it works, go towards it. If it doesn't work, shade away. All right, so 0 is less than 15. I grab one of my colored pencils right now, and I shade towards 0, 0 because it's a solution. Yeah, now you're starting to remember these days, huh? Yay, we get the color. Yay. So relaxing. Questions? Now my expectation is you can do 2 of these at the same time. And wherever the shading overlaps, that's going to be my solution now. All right, so next problem, when I ask you to do 2 at a time, my answer is going to be where the shading regions overlap. Okay, so let's take our time again. Now I'm going to start calling on numbers, so be awake. Let's do this one. 2x minus 5y is less than or equal to 10. X-intercept. I plug in 0 for opposite y. Y-intercept. Remember, I plug in 0 for the opposite x. All right, so I'll give you guys a second to find those x and y intercepts. I'll ask somebody what they are. Okay, how about your x-intercept? What are you getting for your x-intercept? 1. Amanda, what'd you get for your x?
5.
Good job. Yep, excellent. 5. And then how about my y-intercept? 6. -3. Just, yep, you got it. Good job, guys. Good work. Okay, throw up your xy axes now. But any questions on where I got those? Jake, you good?
Wouldn't it be
Wait.
-2?
Well, hold on. Negative should be -2. How'd you get -3? Divide both sides by -5.
Oh, that's 6.
Oh, you're doing. Okay, you're looking at the next one. Negative. All right, I got to regroup. -2. Right. Thanks. Okay, now we're back in business. Let's graph this sucker. On Monday, when you guys start doing this on your own, if you want to find all the intercepts first and then graph last, that's fine. I'm more of a find them, graph them, find them, graph them. But if you want to find them all and then graph them at the end, your call, your show. Is this one going to get a solid or a dashed line right now? Solid or dashed? 5, solid or dashed? Not here. How about 7, solid or dashed?
Solid.
Solid, thanks, Tim. I got the or equal to attached. So graph my points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -2. Graph them. Solid. You guys go ahead and graph that. Don't want to get ahead of myself. All right, you ready to test 0, 0 now? 10-8, quick. Just something to keep in your mind, and I'll talk about it when it comes up. The only time you cannot test 0, 0 is if your line goes through it. If your line goes through 0, 0, I'll talk about it when that occurs. But that's the only time you can't use 0, 0 if the line goes through it. All right, ready? Let's say if I plug in 0 and 0, I get is 0 less than or equal to 10. That's what I get when I plug in 0 and 0 here. Left side becomes 0. Is that true? Yep. So make sure when I shade, 0, 0 is a part of it. Shade towards 0, 0. And then we got one more to graph. Everyone doing all right? All right, let's graph that next one. I'll give you guys, if you haven't done so already, some time to find the x and the y intercept. It's okay if you don't remember x-intercept y. If you know you plug in 0 for one, solve the other, plug in 0 for the other, solve for the, that's fine. I'm never going to write what's the x-intercept or what's the y. Just find your 2 points. That's all I care about. If you don't know the names of them, all right, so be it. X-intercept here. 6, x-intercept.
2, 0.
All right, now we got rocking, right? 2, 0. And now how about your y?
0, -3.
There you go. Found the generator found you back there. All right, go ahead. Let's graph this bad boy. 2, 0. I don't know if anybody went ahead of me here, but what type of line are you graphing here? 14, what type of line? Dashed. This is why I suggest graphing in pencil if you have one, because you can easily make your solid line dash by erasing in the middle. And then what do we get here when we test 0, 0? 0. Oh! First time today. True or false?
False.
False. So when you shade for your dash line, shade it away from 0, 0 because it's not part of the solution. All right, look, it doesn't work. 0 is not greater than 6, so I want to shade away from it, away from 0, 0. So look, I'm going this way now. All right, away from 0, 0. And your solution is where they overlap. But here's the thing, though. You may have done this graph perfectly. You haven't proven to me yet you know where the solution is. Do you know where the overlapped region is? And to show that and to prove that to me, what I need is a big, capital, bold S where you think the solution is, where the shaded regions overlap. That's what I need to see from you so you can prove to me, hey, I know where my solution is. It's right here, right there, because that's where the two shaded regions overlap each other. All right, so when you graph 2 at a time, I will need an S where you think the solution is. And one more little small thing I'd look for. I need very, very small but important. Anybody know what I'm looking for? I didn't need it in the last one if that's a hint, but I do need it here. Yes, Reagan? Label. Label at least, you can do both, but I need at least one line labeled with its inequality. All right, at least one line. You can do both, I'm fine with that, but I need at least one labeled so I know which one's which. So there you go. Okay. You don't need to do both, but at least one. All right. Any issues here? Because I want to go to the next two are kind of unique ones, just to be heads up, watch out for. All right, that don't look like what we did here. Anything, pretty easy, right? Graph 2 points, graph your x and your y intercepts, see if you need to shade up or above or below. All right, next one. Here we go. These are, I call them special, unique ones. Notice they don't have x and y in them anymore, so I don't need to do intercepts. All right, they don't have x and y in them, so I don't need to do intercepts. What I'm going to do, let's take x less than or equal to 2 first. If just the x is showing, no y with it. You don't have to find any intercepts. If x by itself, no y, this is automatically a vertical line. X by itself, and you've done that a ton, you probably just don't remember. X by itself is just a vertical line. A vertical line going through 2. That's it. So go ahead, get your axes set up. There's no intercepts needed. I just know I'm going to draw a vertical line through 2. And is it going to be solid or dashed?
Solid.
Yeah, those rules don't change. It's going to be a solid line going through 2. Vertical line. There it is. And the shading rule doesn't change either. So you can still test 0, 0. The line doesn't go through it. So ready? Is 0 less than or equal to 2?
No. True. True.
True or false?
True.
True. So make sure you shade towards 0, 0 then. Okay. Everything stays the same except the type of lines. It's not diagonal anymore. So now I'm going to shade AKA to the left towards 0, 0. And I think many of you, because you're very, I got some clever kids in here. If it's just y by itself, now I'm drawing a
Horizontal.
horizontal line. Yes, I see a lot of you guys like your coloring. That's cute. Take pride in it. Brings you back to your elementary days. Maybe when you had indoor recess and you had to color. That shouldn't even be a term, right? Indoor recess. That shouldn't even. Recess is outside. There's no such thing as indoor recess. Should bring that back here to the high school, huh? Have a little playground out there, Dylan. Yeah. Put the slide out there, merry-go-round, little Foursquare. Anybody ever play that game, Foursquare? Or am I just outdating myself?
Ball.
A little wall ball, yeah. Foursquare was a great game unless you played with the kid who just started making up his rules, his own rules as he went along. He'd be like playing, the kid be like, oh, cherry bomb, boom. And you're like, what the hell just happened here? Right? Play with that kid. Were you that kid, Dylan?
No, but well,
You put a little spin on it sometimes too.
Oh, yeah.
So the kid's like here and the ball's going way over here. He looks like an idiot.
and like a little like I pretend like I'm gonna slam it and I just let it
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that guy.
That's my signature.
Nice. Your signature, good. It's going to be a horizontal line going through -1. Well, never mind. I'm good. I thought I was going to have to do a dash there. And then you guys are just getting ahead of me. You're just like, let's get this over with. Stop telling stories. True or false? 0 greater than or equal to -1?
True. Yeah, true.
True. Yep. So let's shade above towards 0, 0. And now we see our overlapping region. Again, nice big bold S for me there. And last thing we need, label, right? At least one of the lines. Or both if you're feeling crazy. Whew. We good so far? So X by itself vertical, Y by itself horizontal. And then you'll see something like number 4 as well. Wow, just looks like that. I don't want to give it away here. I don't. I want you guys to figure this out together here with me. I don't want to tell you, oh, this is how you do it. Let's do it. Think about everything we talked about today. How do you think this is going to look, this graph? Even if you guess and you're wrong, I don't care. You're not going to be wrong. You're probably going to be pretty close to the answer. How do you think I'm going to graph that? How many variables do you see?
1.
And what is it? What did we just talk about? If you just see X, it's going to be? Vertical, right? Yeah, that's all this is now 2 vertical lines. One going through -2, the other going through 5. But watch out for solid and dashed, right? One's going to be solid, one's going to be dashed. Be careful. But yeah, that's all this is. 2 vertical lines going through -2 and 5. One will be solid, one will be dashed. And then when after we're done graphing, we'll talk about where the shading should be. That's all this one is. Quick. This should be a quick one for us. At -2, what are you graphing? Solid or dashed? At -2, should it be solid or dashed? What do you got here? 6? Solid on fire because it's got the all or equal to it. And then how about the 5? What's the 5 looking at for? 7. What do you got, Tim?
Dash.
Dash. Good, because it doesn't have the or equal to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are my 2 lines. That's all I need. And now we just got to talk about shading. Test 0, 0.
0 will be.
Test 0. Ready? Plug 0 in. Is 0 in between those 2 numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So guess what? I'm going to shade in between them. And that will always be the case when I ask you to do 2 horizontal or 2 vertical lines on the same one. You'll always graph in between them. There's no S needed. There's anywhere in there is a solution. And if I replace the X with a Y, now we're doing 2 horizontal lines instead and shading in between. Okay, you good? All right, look, let me just, because I know I'm going to get a lot of eye rolls, a lot of people ticked at me, which it is what it is. I don't care. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to graph 4 and see where the shaded regions overlap. Here's why. This is not to make your life miserable. I'm sure I've done that a ton already this year. This is where I need you to be. Like the expectation isn't 2 of them. Remember, we're going on to some pre-calculus topics at the end of this unit, and we got to be able to do at least 4 at a time. All right, so this is where I'm leading you to. It's not to make your life miserable. It is just to say, hey, this is where I need you to be. Graph 4 at a time. You ready? Can we get through the easier 2, the 2 easier ones at the bottom? Because this will be, remember, vertical. This will just be a vertical line, and this will be horizontal because it's just Y. So let's at least just graph those right now. If you want to share colored pencils amongst each other, so I don't have to pass out another 2 to everybody, don't go ahead. If you want to grab your pen or a pencil and do the shading with those instead, that's fine. But let's get through these 2 first. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes, make sure we match before we go to the diagonal ones. This is the new norm right here. This is the new normal. Not 2, but probably 4 or more. And all of them are solid. All of them are going to be solid lines. Okay, I'm going to start giving you some tips here because this can get very overwhelming when you've colored all your graphic. Okay, because that's probably what's going to end up happening here. Realistically, is you're going to cover almost all your graph. Take a look right now. I've just graphed the horizontal and the vertical line. Everyone, hey, I at least know my solution is going to be somewhere here now. Okay, so who cares about over here, here, and here? So when we go to shade the next diagonal line, let's just shade where we know the answer is going to be. Why add more colors to our diagram that's going to confuse us? So here's what I'm talking about. 3x plus y less than or equal to 6. We got to do our intercepts again. Let's see, my x-intercept, which should be 2. And my y-intercept should be 6. We're okay there? My intercepts? Before I graph them? Two zero zero six. Need a solid line for this. Okay, I'm ready to test this first one, and I'll show you what I mean by not shading everything. Okay, so I test 0, 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 6? True or false? That's true, right?
True.
So I want to make sure I shade
Over
my
it.
purple line away from it.
No, toward.
It's true, right? So I want to shade it towards it. Now, here's what I'm take a look, everybody. I know I'm going to shade, let's see, get a color here. Light blue, nope, I used that. Yellow, nope, I've used that. Dark red, sure. All right, I want to shade towards 0, 0, but I'm not even going to bother shading up here. Why? I know that's not even going to be part of the solution. You see that? I at least know my solution is going to be somewhere in here. I'm just going to watch. Here you go. That's all I'm going to shade because I know the solution's got to be somewhere there. Why bother keep going out here? I'm just going to confuse myself even more, I think. So because I knew the answer had to be somewhere here, I just shaded in that region only. And now I'm only going to shade in this region only when I do the next line. All good? All right, so I'm just trying to, because I know by the time your whole darn graph might be colored in, and you're like, where the heck do I go now? And that's a pain. I get it. 0. Ooh, -1/2. Ooh. All right, no big deal. We can handle it. And what do I get for the other one? +1. Okay, so -1/2 on the x, +1 on the y. Solid line coming in. I'm running out of colors. What haven't I done yet? I haven't done green yet. All right, yeah, I can do a green line. And you ready now? Test. Is 0 less than or equal to -1? Is that true or false? 0 less than or equal to -1?
True.
Oh boy.
I know.
Oh, think of your number line where 0 and -1 would fall. Is 0 less than -1? That's false. False. So I got to shade away. I'll just keep the pink. Now look, hey, look. I'm going to shade away from my green line. And I know it's got to be somewhere within here. So why bother why bother doing that? It's useless. I know my answer can't be there. So I'm going to shade where everything else is, right here. And do we see where all 4 end up now? I'll highlight it. You guys remember, put your S there for me. Oh boy, what did I run out now? Orange. Right there. And here's where we're getting towards. You're going to, later on, a couple days from now, you're going to have to show me what shape it ends up being and give me the coordinates off that shape. Okay, so that's where we're going towards. This is why I need you to find where it overlaps. Whoa! One more thing. Now you got to do at least 3 out of 4 lines have to be labeled. Okay, all but 1 doesn't have to be labeled. All right, or all of them but 1 have to be labeled. All right, so please keep that in mind. And once you have those labels, we are good to go. You'll do this on your own Monday. Good work today. Good work.